Tippy time, my damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. Season 25 looks to heavily focus on our Stasis, but I wanted to remind you of all the other subclass buffs we have coming to play with. The Titan's T-Crash has been outshone a bit as the Twilight Arsenal can play a bit like a burst super. This will be seeing a bonus 33% to its impact damage. Note that this isn't an overall buff, but this should be enough to one-bang our champs and GMs now. Now I'm a little bit confused here as Bungie are buffing the Hunter's best burst super a further 30%. I'm not sure why, were there some complaints about the Goldie I didn't hear about? This also is going to apply to our Solar 3.0 6-shooter, but with the buff perhaps it might be a little bit stronger at some ad clearing in PvE. This bonus though only applies to rank and file, elites and mini bosses. Spectral Blades is seeing a 20% overall buff. This feels a little like housekeeping as it's never rarely used, as Tether is a lot better at ad clear, but it does allow us to kill and hide in the shadows. Perhaps if there are some of you diehards out there, you might appreciate this morsel of a buff. It's seeing a slight damage resistance buff to 58% whilst in super. I think that Wizened Chest Beast needs a bit of a rework. Maybe give it like a rampage type of function on top of those extensions on kills. Luckily Void 3.0 has Echo of Reprisal to give us this super fairly regularly. Now I'm very much looking forward to our Threaded Specters getting a 33% damage buff to its detonation damage. This is going to be dope as when paired with those Balance of Power exotic boots that double our Threadling's output. It works best on Prismatic when paired with your Gambler's Dodge and Combination Blow to have an infinite supply of the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Additionally, Combo Blow has got a bit of a rework and now gives us an additional 20 HP, but we need to punch our way up to 100. Our Stormcaller got a small deer buff which is appreciated. I am glad to see that we will now become amplified when we use our Lightning Surge aspect. During Season 24 I found it a little tough to get amplified on our Prislock unless using that Getaway Artist kit. I mean, there was always the option to use that Chain Lightning melee, but it was just too hard to give up that triple arcane for those triple surges, so this is welcomed. Nova Warp, for the few of you nutters out there, is going to be getting a few buffs. We've got increased DR in line with that Ghost Knife and Tickle Fingers at 58%. It got a 20% buff against all enemy types, and Nova Warp detonations apply volatile regardless of the charge duration. I used to pair this with the Astrocyte for its blinks and volatile, but with these bonuses I'll now be basing my Void 3.0 kit around a grenade. I'd already been wanting to take advantage of our magnetic grenade buffs. This now hits 20% harder. I pair that with both the Chaos Accelerant aspect to convert this into handheld supernovas. Pairing it with our Controverse hold offers us a bonus 2000% damage resist whilst we are charging this. The knockback was buffed by 10% and we got a bonus 15.5 regeneration cooldown. With the right setup you can have a full supernova back in 2 seconds flat. I'm super puffed they're buffing the Twilight Axe damage. It was the one thing that let down this mighty super. Hopefully with this buff it should be closer to our sword damage. Facet of Command and Echo of Domineering got a much deserved buff. I was pumped to use the Two-Tailed Fox with this at the launch of Season 24, but an 11-second cooldown was way too high, particularly when there's not tons of suppression options, so it's hard to justify a suppression kit. But with a 4-second cooldown, this will make that kit viable, and it should be heaps of fun with our Wave Splitter and Collective Obligation builds. They removed the intrinsic slow from our Shiver Strike this season, probably because this melee is getting a big rework. This will now attach a Stasis explosive upon impact on targets. In PvP this detonation will slow, and in PvE this will freeze combatants. It'll refund 80% of our melee charge on whiffs. This should be in line with the rest of our shoulder charges. And it's going to increase our cooldown by 12.5%. I'm curious if this is going to work in the super. If so, it could be a little nutty. They are though giving our Behemoth super access once more to that Howl of the Storm aspect. Bungo had removed this quite a while ago. I believe it was when they discovered a bunch of us were soloing Rolk. This aspect goes nuts with those feedback vents exotic gauntlets, as they give us armor charges on melee hits, and this does include the shatter kills. The Hell Ice will shatter, leaving behind multiple shards to feed us back melee energy, so we can loot this fairly well. Additionally, these feedbacks gain charges with our glaives, so the Winter's Bite is a no-duh choice here. Our Diamond Lancers will go nuts this coming season. The Lance Cap already makes giant crystals with them, but now those Lancers can shatter crystals, and slamming a Lance will create you and allies 2 stacks of frost armor, so we can all get in on that damage reduction. When behind our barricade, all we need is precision hit in order to spawn these on demand. And let's not forget, these new barricades will have that taunt mechanic and bonus DR sitting behind them. I'm looking to run it with that Veiled Threat AR, as it has strategists to fuel my barricades and headstone for even more shatter. I'd love to hear from you guys. Will any of these buffs get you to get off Prismatic? I'm quite curious. Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy time my damies, what a tie.